I want to begin by asking you, decades after the tragedy of Air India Flight 182, how do you view this acknowledgement by the Canadian authorities?
Thank you for having me on your show, Vaishali, and I echo Lalitji's views. NewsX is one of the rare channels in India that has continued this fight against the Khalistani, terrorists, as well as this movement and the bombers of Air India 182 Kanishka. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. Yes, I was orphaned at the age of 17. I lost my entire family back then. And that didn't keep me down. I've been fighting for justice for 40 years. I was a petitioner in the John Major inquiry. I still go every year to Ireland and across Canada, and I speak against Khalistani terrorism, against all forms of terrorism. Laliji is right. He let out a cat out of the bag. I am working on the anthology of the global Khalistani threat across the world and how it demeans and belittles the great religion of Sikhism. It's against Sikhi, I feel, and it belittles the contribution of the great Sikh people and Punjabi people to India and the Punjabi diaspora around the world. So I think that has to be removed. The second point I want to make here, I've read the report page to page, cover to cover, and you have to understand that there is a bit of friction between not Canada and India anymore, between CSIS and their PMO. While CSIS and the earlier PM got along just fine, the current CSIS director doesn't get along so well with Mark Carney. So you will see a bit of jarring statements apart from the truth about the Khalistanis. You'll find 5 or 7 remarks about India being involved in espionage, which I was very disturbed or unhappy with. I'm happy with the acknowledgement about the CBKE Khalistani extremists being involved in the Air India bombing. But I also am happy that the CSIS has finally recognized that whilst secession is not a crime in Canada, it is a crime in India. And therefore, the Indian government tries to protect its own borders and boundaries and its states. That's the other aspect. The third thing is I believe that, Mark Carney and our PM have moved on along the way. This is, don't forget, a 2025 report. I believe by things will change. I believe even the Niger aspect has now moved out of the window. If you look at the report from afar, I think it hits the Khalistani extremists far more about their fundraising, about their illegal activities, about their threats to Canadian citizens within Canada, and more than it points a finger at India for transnational repression, allegedly, which I don't believe we do, but they say we do. So I look at it from that point of view, and I still, as a family member, we have our own organization, and we still look for closure. We look for justice. At some point, there has to be some justice. We all hope for a deathbed confession by one of them so that we can put this to bed. But, who knows whether it will come. But it is my job, I feel, as an individual. I won't call myself a victim. I'm a survivor, and I'd like to point out to the world how dastardly and devilish these Khalistani extremists were, and how they were promoted and prompted and funded in those days by the ISI and their Pakistani goons. I was last year in Washington giving lectures on terrorism at the National Press Club, and you'd be surprised there were Khalistanis waving flags down there below. The Operation Sindoor group also was there, and they were brought there by the Pakistanis. So it just shows you this is a method to kill India by 1,000 cuts. But I'm sure we are strong. Our Sikh, forces in the armed forces or in civil government, in our ministries, in our cabinets, are so strong, and they are the pride of India, that they will never let this happen. So yes, it's a good step in the right direction, but lots more to be done in my view. Thank you, Vaishali.
Absolutely, Mr. Lazar, and I completely agree with you, because the question is that there are these words that are being put out, but what is really the action? We want to see the action on the ground, and these things should stop. I want to go